What's up, everybody? This is Jason Collins, and welcome back to the Bluegrass Race Hub podcast. Today, we are back. I know we've been MIA for a few weeks, but after about 5 weeks of racing, we have a great show lineup for everyone. I'm joined today by Cody Anderson, driver of the 42 Truck and Cup Series car, James Silvers, driver of the number 17 Cup Series car, and Lucas Lyons, driver of the number 25 across all three of our series. I am Jason Collins, HMFIC. This is episode 27. We are coming at you right now. All right, guys. Well, here we are today. We're back. It's been a while. Like I said, you guys haven't seen us, but we are here today, and we got some great stuff to talk about. We've got 5 weeks of racing in Bluegrass to talk about, as well as a whole NASCAR season that's about past us up. You know, we're already in, I think we're like 8 races away from the playoffs in Bluegrass, and or 9 races, or we'll be 8 races away after this week, and then we're 8 races I think also in NASCAR right now. But we've got trucks to talk about, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start this off with a couple of our resident truck drivers, Cody and Lucas. You guys want to go ahead and jump in and kind of give us some insights on the last few weeks in the truck series. I know Auto Club, we had Keith Hackney was the winner, but go over the rundown for the top 10 if you don't care, Cody, whoever's got it pulled up.
Yeah, well, that's at Auto Club. We had Hackney winning. Jeremy Vaughn came in second. We had Chad Ross coming third, finishing out the podium. Then we had 2 JC drivers coming 4th and 5th with Barrett Morton and Daniel Cunningham. And then a couple McCullough drivers, which the new team, new drivers to the series this season, with David Sheets and Christopher McCullough. And then 8th place, Peyton Hubbard, last season's championship Ford driver. Fell a little bit short there in the final race. And then Cody Gagliano and Michael Robinson rounded out your top 10 for Auto Club.
Then we jumped over to Las Vegas. Looks like Daniel Cunningham was the winner there. Lucas, you got the results for that race pulled up by any chance?
Yeah, so it was actually a really close race. It was like a photo finish. You had Daniel Cunningham winning, and then you had Eric Parks coming in second, Michael Robertson rounding out the podium in third, Chad Ross in fourth, Michaela, how do you say her last name?
Steffes.
And fifth, and then you had Brian Terry in sixth, and then Joe in seventh, and then Barrett Morton in eighth, Michael Cole in ninth, and then Adrian Loya in 10th.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like that was a pretty solid race. Vegas always puts on a good show. Let's see. We have what was our third week? Pocono. And yeah, Alex Healy pulled out the win there. James, didn't you race down at Pocono?
No, I've only raced down at Xfinity this season.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, Las Vegas.
Well, so Healy's on vacation this week, so he wasn't able to join us today. And me and I both been super busy the last few weeks, which is why we've not been able to do a podcast like we normally do for you guys. But you know, we're going to get back into the swing of things and start recording it on every Sunday, whether it's just me and Cody and whoever. So anybody that wants to join us, you guys are more than welcome to come out and be a co-host, co-guest, whatever you want to call it. Anytime. We're going to try to start recording these, sometime in the afternoon on Sundays, that way that we can still watch the race and stuff like that. Obviously, this weekend's race was postponed. New Hampshire got rained out. I know Matt Grenier, he's pretty sad about that. He's been sending some snaps to the group. Had a bunch of lobster ready to go up, so it was really cool to see. And then he showed us some videos from the Whelen Tour Mods last night, ripping around that place. Those guys are freaking hauling balls when they come through there. I remember you see them go off into turn one, and you're like, they're getting ready to hit the wall. They just it just hooks and they just rip around that sucker. It's super cool to see. It really shows you how fast they are from that perspective of a spectator rather than a TV camera. But yeah, Healy pulled out the win at Pocono. Peyton Hubbard came in with a second place finish, just a couple tenths behind him. Drew Prohl, he ended up pulling out a P3. Dustin Reinstedel grabbed a P4. Wes Wiggin was P5. Chris McCullough, he grabbed a P6. Michael Robinson grabbed a P7. Bobby Hall Jr. grabbed a P8. Ronnie Shirk Jr. grabbed a P9. And Daniel Cunningham rounded out the top 10. Pocono was a good race overall, I feel like. We only had 7 cautions, 9 lead changes, 7 different leaders. It was pretty good little race. Really came down at the end there. So after Pocono, we had Kansas, right? Kansas? All right.
Yep.
I know Kenneth McCullough was the winner there. Peyton Hubbard, looks like Peyton rounded out your second place at Kansas. So that was back-to-back P2s for Peyton. I don't think Peyton's grabbed a win this year, right?
He
I
has
don't
not
think
yet.
so.
He's due for one, man. He's been, he's gotten progressively better since he joined the league. I remember his first season with us, and it was not good. He had potential, he had speed, but he didn't have the racecraft. And since joining, he partnered up with Keith Hackney, and him and Keith, have worked together, and he really has improved his racecraft and gotten better overall. And you can just see the progression and how much better he's gotten in the series, and it's impressive, which I think is a big testament to this series in general anyways, how much it builds a driver, because the competition is so tough and you're racing against that same competition week in and week out, and it's unbelievable. Like, we have 40 plus guys sign up for trucks this season. So trucks have been hella competitive, like incredibly competitive. But yeah, let me get back to the results here. Sean Kaiser pulled out the 3rd place at Kansas. Wes Wiggin was P4. Daniel Cunningham again P5. David Farmer ran down and ran P6. Alex Healy finished P7. Bobby Hall finished P8. John Mollahan finished P9, and then Daniel Worthington finished P10. All right, that moves us on over to this last week. Who was it who wants to do this one? Who wants to jump in and do Michigan results? Somebody jump
No,
in.
okay. Take it.
Mollahan actually came back from a good week at Kansas and ended up getting his first win of the series.
Yep.
Stephen Page pulled out second place
By 3 1,000ths, 0.003.
That was a close one, yeah.
Close one.
And then resident short bus Lucas Lyons got his first podium of the season, coming in 3rd. Chad Ross, who's been very consistent, just hasn't pulled out that win. He came in 4th, just a few tenths short of that win. And then Cunningham rounding out the top 5. You got Barrett in 6th, Wes in 7th, Healy showing another top 10 performance in 8th place, Worthington in 9th, and you got David Sheets rounding out your top 10.
So all in all, it was a great race. Michigan was a lot of fun to watch. We only had 4 cautions, but we had 19 lead changes, 10 different leaders. Ended up coming down to a green-white checkered. It was just a really good race overall. Like, give us your all's take on it. I know you guys were both in it, so what did you think about it? I know, Cody, you may not have been as good for you. You got wrecked out, but I mean, Lucas had a good night. I felt like it was just a good race overall.
Yeah, I was setting up to have a good race, and then getting wrecked out at Kansas. I was trying to prove a point at Michigan, and I just got a little overzealous with David Brackett, and I stuck the nose of the truck somewhere where it shouldn't have been, and I ended up turning us both into the outside wall, and we would have been fine after that, but there were some people behind us that started getting spun, and people ARCA braking, and just ended up bad for both Brackett and I, and we both ended up multiple laps down, but
Yeah.
we're able to get back out.
I remember after that accident, you all with you and Brackett, it ended up being a big wreck. Like, everybody and their brother seemed like they were involved in that after the fact.
Yeah.
Lucas, what do you think? I mean, you finished P3. You had a good night. Give us your take on everything and what you think of Michigan.
It's kind of like one of those restrictor plate races where you don't know who's going to win until the last lap.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, on that green white checkered, I had 6 lap pressure tires in everybody
Mm-hmm.
because I stayed out as long as I could, but I got into one of my teammates off of 2, which ultimately set me up a little bit further back than what I really wanted. But I mean, overall, it was a pretty great race. You had Christopher McCullough, who actually got pole, and that whole team was basically 1 through 4 in the beginning of the race. So I qualified 5th. I just rode in behind them, thinking, I mean, if I try to pass them, I'm just going to burn my stuff up like a lot more than if I would just ride behind them. So I was just basically riding around until the last few laps, and then with me pitting late, if the caution didn't come out, I was only going to finish around 10th. So I was kind of happy with that late race caution. But
Hmm.
other than that, I mean, it was a great race.
So I know the McCullough guys have been really strong this season so far. You know, Christopher and Kenneth both have been, you know, they usually seem to start towards the front of the pack, and they have several laps that they lead. They do a really good job, it seems like. I know Kenneth got that win at Kansas. I don't think Christopher's gotten a win yet, has he? I don't believe so.
Christopher has not gotten a win. There's Mullahan is the only other McCullough team driver that has gotten a win.
Yeah. So where are they sitting at in points? Like, give us a rundown on team points if you guys don't care. I'm not familiar with where everybody's at right now, to be honest with you, in team points.
So we've got 7 teams that are running for points in the trucks.
Mm-hmm.
From post Michigan, JC Motorsports is leading the team points with 784 points.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got Flex Motorsports coming in second with 736, with McCullough right on the heels, only 5 points behind. Then you got Team 3 with 625, WJM 485, High Side, which is running with 3 truck drivers at 311, and then you got Kinder Performance Group's team with 293, and they've only got 2 drivers running right now.
Yeah, I know that we've not seen Kinder or Lancaster, either one, I believe, since week 2 or something like that in the trucks.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 2 other series to cover. We've still got a lot to go. This is going to be a long episode, guys. So let's go ahead and jump on over into Xfinity and talk about that a little bit. So week 1 in Xfinity, we saw Alex Penn grab his first oval win, dude. That guy has improved so much. James, I'm going to let you take the lead on this one because that's one of your buddies, and you know Alex really well. Let's just talk about how much we've seen Alex improve in the Xfinity series over the course of 2 seasons now.
Well, you know, first when bringing him on, you know, bringing him into the Xfinity series, because me and him used to race in All-American ARCA series. That's where we got to know each other. And it just came you know, there's a big thought one day. I was like, you know, you used to drive for me one time. I'll even pay your entry fees.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how he got started, you know, and I helped him get his way in, and he just got progressively better each week. And with him running with me and Radburn for that good time, and Keith at the time, because Keith was part of the team, really helped him develop and become a way better driver. So with me and Radburn out of the way, he's looking like he's taking a pretty good charge. So,
yeah, he has. I mean, he's stepped up incredibly. He's doing a wonderful job. Lucas, you got anything you want to add?
I mean,
I run with him.
I've ran with him, and I've actually run some road races with him. And I mean, he's got a whole bunch of potential. I mean, if he keeps doing what he's been doing, I mean, it seems like every time I run a race, he's fucking passing me, you know. And he's mad fast about every single track he goes to, and I mean, I think he's gonna get at least 3 or 4 wins this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got potential to grab another one for sure. The kid, he's smart. He's super intelligent. Like, he's got his head on his shoulders. You know, I think he's even eventually he's going to North Carolina to Charlotte to work for a racing team.
Yeah.
Was what he was telling. Yeah, is what he's telling us the other night. So I think that he's, you know, he knows his stuff as far as strategy and fuel mileage, and he really, really calculates it. And he can, you know, like him and GT have been doing really well as a crew chief driver combo. I know he crew chiefs for you all, and I know him and GT have really like kind of bonded and connected, and seems like that they have their crap together as well. So
yeah, definitely for sure though. Bringing Alex part of the Cup team and him crew chiefing, he just helps us out tremendously. I mean, I think we do a pretty good job, but with him, we make sure that we can all get in the top 5. You know,
and I'm pretty sure Alex won this race off fuel mileage, because I'm pretty sure Jonah ran.
Oh yeah, he ran out of gas.
He did. It was fuel mileage.
GT they came up with a pretty good strategy for that race.
Yep, exactly. And you saw Jimmy Allen grab a P2, Michael Kostick grabbed a P3, Adam Lancaster came in at P4, Daniel Cunningham P5. Farmer grabbed a P6. Jonah ended up still crossing the line at P7. Matt Grenier was a P8. Justin Ray P9, and Ben Speed rounded out the top 10. So then we saw Jim Ott grab his first win at Las Vegas in the Xfinity Series. Who wants to run down the top 10 on that and give us a rundown and what they remember about Vegas? I don't remember. I'll be honest with you.
I ran that race. I mean, I can run it down. Jim Ott, he did a pretty good job all day. He ended up coming home P1, and Daniel Cunningham, I believe he was racing up for that race, if I'm not mistaken.
He's running all three series. He's running all three, yeah.
Yeah, but he still does a pretty good job. I mean, he's the points leader in trucks, right? I believe so, yeah. He's doing a pretty good job.
Let me check.
Yeah. He is.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And David Farmer finishing P3. He drives for Cornerstone in the Xfinity and Flex and Cup. And I ended up running down and finished fourth. I had to start in the back since we couldn't qualify. So driving to the front in that race was pretty hard because it's pretty hard to pass because once the tires went, the top was the only way to go. So you had to wait for people to mess up for that. But Justin Ray ended up coming home P5, Tony Iverson P6, Ben Speed P7, Travis Tweedy got a top 8. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Alex Penn finished 9th, and Finley Fitzsimmons rounded out the top 10.
And speaking of, that's another guy you brought in with Cornerstone is Finley. Yeah. And Finley's from across the pond. He lives over in London. And Finley has shown the last couple of weeks that he's got potential to do something in this Xfinity Series.
Yeah, he's come a long ways too, man, because him and Alex came from the same place. That's where I found both of them. And him developing and that series and getting used to them cars, he's come a long way on ovals. He's always been good at road courses. He's always whooped their ass at road courses, but really recently he's just learned how to save his tires so good, and right now he's really starting to figure out these Xfinity cars. I'd be scared to be competing against him right now.
Definitely got some competition in that Xfinity series as well. That jumps us on over to Pocono. Cody, you want to give us a rundown on Pocono for the Xfinity series?
Yeah, let me get it pulled up real quick. So looks like Michael Kostek actually pulled out the win there, led 21 laps of the race, and then Tony Iverson came in second. Ott pulling out another podium in the Xfinity series, coming in third place. Lancaster, I think that's his second or third, fourth place in the first 3 weeks. And then you got Barrett coming in fifth, Austin Allen pulling the sixth place, Matt Grenier seventh, and then we got Scott Fritz eighth, Jason Harrison ninth, and Farmer rounding out your top 10.
Absolutely, and that was a pretty solid race. I'm not 100%, but I feel like it went pretty well. It was pretty smooth. Only had two cautions. Yep, 2 cautions, but it had 20 lead changes and 13 different leaders. So really good race for the Xfinity guys at Pocono. Yeah, they did a fantastic job that week. Week 4 saw us over at Kansas in Xfinity, and that saw Jimmy Allen lock himself into the playoffs with his first win. I believe that was his first win ever in Bluegrass. He's been a fast driver always, and very aggressive. Jimmy's known for his aggressiveness, and he's made a couple enemies in the league. I mean, there's a couple guys that don't like the way he drives and how aggressive he is, and I understand that. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he is a very talented driver. He is very fast, and he knows his crap, and he does a really good job. And you saw Jim Ott grab P2, David Farmer grab P3, Lancaster with another P4. I mean, I think that's like his third straight one or something.
Yeah, it looked like he just kept finishing fourth.
Yeah. So, and then Alex Penn was P5, Justin Ray P6, Michael Kostek P7, Daniel Cunningham P8, Sean Kostritza grabbed P9, and then Ben Speed grabbed another top 10 out also. Do you remember anything about that race, Lucas, in particular at Kansas?
I got wrecked out.
Did you? Okay.
That's about all I know. Yeah.
Cody, do you remember?
That was the first Xfinity race that I ran, and I remember coming in there. Kansas is one of my favorite tracks, and getting wrecked with the trucks. I wanted to come in to Xfinity, and I wanted to try and show the Xfinity guys, hey, maybe my first race, but I can hang with you guys, and I ended up not being able to hang. I finished 17th, 30 seconds behind. But watching it was a battle. Even with the guys that were outside of the top 15, it was a battle the whole way. And just watching my relative and listening to the broadcast and everything, the battle at the front was stellar. Yeah. I mean, they just kept trading off back and forth. I mean, just between James and Jim, they led 67 laps themselves of the 125 lap race.
And
So
it's
they were
like
going,
34, 33.
yeah, they were going back and forth the whole time. But this Xfinity series this season, it's not a series to play, and you have to be on top of your game if you want to be running up at the front. Because one little mistake is going to drop you from a top 3 outside the top 10.
Yeah, I mean it's not an easy series at all by any means. So after Kansas, we had Michigan this week, and we saw our first two-time winner, Jim Ott. He grabbed his second win of the season. That's the first in all 3 series that we've had 2 winners. Every other series has had a new winner. So, who wants to give us a rundown on Xfinity at Michigan?
Short bus?
Lucas, go
I
for
guess
it.
It's like you said, Jim Ott ended up pulling out the win. You had Finley Fitzsimmons get P2, and then
Mhm.
Alex Penn running at the podium at P3. Then you had Jonathan Cofield, who actually, I'm pretty sure he ran down as a sub.
Yep.
I really can't remember off the top of my head. He got P4. Lancaster, again, getting a top 5. Michael Kostick getting P6. We got a Robert Richards getting a P7. Tony Iverson pulling out P8.
Yep.
John McAdam in P9, and then Matt Grenier in P10.
So 2 cautions for the Xfinity guys at Michigan. 18 lead changes, 11 different leaders. Pretty solid race for those guys. I think that was the best race of the week as far as cautions and stuff like that.
Oh, yes.
Finley looked like he had a shot at winning that race when he grabbed his P2. Lancaster almost won the damn thing. He finished P5 by running out of gas, but man, he had a shot, dude. Whenever I was actually talking, Robbie Richards was running a one-off, and he finished P7. So he was in the channel with me because he didn't have nobody else to talk to, so he just sat in the channel with me while I did race control, and he was asking me what I thought he should do, and I was like, you have 2 options. You either save like a mother and just try to stretch it out, or because he took tire. I think did he take tire? I can't remember. I think he saved tires. I don't remember. Anyways, I knew he had to stop at least 2 more times after the stage break.
It was
2 stops. You had 2 stops after the stage break, and I told him not to take tires at the stage break, I feel like, and wait and short pit it. I was like, if I were you, what I would do is I would wait, and I wouldn't take tires at the stage. I would keep whatever you got on. Maybe I said take tires at the stage, but then come back and short pit it, and then don't take your second set, but saving. Yeah, that's what it was. So I told him, take tires at the stage and be careful, be easy on them. Like, take it easy. Don't worry about going up front and pushing hard. Like, just wherever you start at, just save. If they want to go, let them go. I said, don't lose the draft, but don't burn your shit up at the same time, is what I'm saying. And I said, I think what you need to do is you need to short pit it, come in as soon as you know you can make it. You need to come in and go ahead, get fuel. Don't take tires again until your second stop, right? Because you had to stop that first time. And if you took tires, then you're better off to stay on those tires that you took at the stage. Because we had 4 total sets. It was 85 laps. And I remember the stage break came because they didn't take tires at all. Some of them didn't during the first stage. And then second stage, they had to make 2 stops, and it just wouldn't have worked out anyways by taking tires at the stage. So they took tires at the stage and then came in. I don't know. I think he ran like,
I think fuel mileage was like 18 to 20 laps.
It's like 20 something laps, but I think I told him to come in, and it was actually, who was it? I think it was Cofield, maybe. Cofield had the strategy that I wanted Robbie to run. It was Cofield.
No, it was Mike.
Oh, that was your idea?
What happened with Mike was it didn't fill up his car all the way.
Oh, okay, so that's right. Yes. Michael had, you're right.
That strategy. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And I think that was the same thing that I was, but he had to go in a little bit earlier than Robbie. And I told Robbie when Mike went in, when Mike Pitts, wait, I said, you want to have fresher tires. And it was Jonathan that waited longer. That's what, yeah. So Jonathan waited, I think 4 laps or something after Robbie pitted. So he had 4 lap fresher tires. So he caught Robbie with just handful of laps to go. But it still didn't matter because Jim and them came and, they were just so far out. There wasn't no, Robbie and them had to catch up to Jim and them is what I'm trying to get at. Because Jim and them stayed out and waited and waited and waited. But I told him, I was like, you're not going to beat them if you're doing the same thing. If you're already behind them and you continue to do the same thing as them, you're not going to win. So you need to come up with an alternative strategy. And that's what I ended up telling him to do. And he tried it. I mean, it worked out for him for a minute. He came out, he would have been the leader because he beat Mike out of the pits. Like Mike went in, him and Mike went in, I think at the same time. And Mike had a pretty good lead on him, but Robbie went into the pit so hard he closed the gap and ended up passing Mike on pit entry and then beat him off pit road by like quite a bit. And he was laying back saving so much, I think, that he let him get back to him or something. I can't remember, but he had a good run for first time running in the series at all this season. And I was just kind of coaching him a little bit on how to run it. So, I guess that means we need to move on over to the Cup Series. Did we cover everything in there?
Yep.
Okay. Not team points.
Team points, yeah.
Yes,
team points in Xfinity.
So team points, we've got 3 teams that are running. We got Cornerstone. They are leading with 901 points. Then you got JC, 848, tight battle there. And then we got Highside is coming in third with 776 points.
Hell yeah. All right. Y'all actually ain't that far behind. That's not bad for Xfinity. Going over to the Cup Series. Let me pull those results up real quick. Season 7 in Cup has been insane. We do not have a repeat winner yet. We've had a wild start to the season, but Jonathan Cofield grabbed that very first win at Auto Club. James, you were in that race. Go ahead. You do this one. You were P2, so you do this one.
Yeah, it was a pretty good race right there. GT ended up trying to best us on his strategy there. On the last pit stop, he didn't take tires, and he came out a good, say about 14, 15 seconds.
Yep.
But it didn't take us long to run him down. But we didn't run him down until like about 2 laps to go, which is kind of funny how we didn't even catch him until then. But when we finally caught him, me and Cofield both got around him, but he ended up holding the rest of the field up. And I mean, he did a good job holding on to it because Colbert got into the back of him. I thought he was going to turn him. I looked up in the mirror and he saved it, but they didn't like they didn't like each other too much after that race. But after that, it was a good finish though. I had to say it was a really good finish. But Kostak ended up coming home 4th, and Colbert finished 5th, and Radburn, he's now in the Cup Series with me as well, driving on Cornerstone. Glad to see him in a Cup car. He belongs here, finishing 6th. And Holder drives for me as well, and P7. And Peters also drives for me. Pizza Man, you already know him. Always posting pictures about pizza. I don't know about him. Barrett Morton, P9, and Lucas Lyons come home P10. How about that?
One thing that really shocked me was Cofield almost didn't make the race.
Yeah.
So he didn't
showed up.
Didn't qualify.
Nope.
And didn't practice.
Nope.
And then comes out and wins. So JC used a sub, and then he comes out and wins the race.
I know, right? You all put somebody else in his place because you didn't think he was going to make
I
it.
thought that was week 2.
No, it was
week 1.
It was week 1?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we put Sean Kaiser in as a sub, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and fucking wins.
It happens. All right. Before we go ahead and go any further, we're going to stop for just a second, take a short little break, guys. All right. So here we are. We're back. We're going on over to Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the Cup Series. Go ahead and give us a rundown on the finishing order for that, somebody.
So the finish at Las Vegas was actually a pretty wild one. But there was quite a bit of strategy played in that, and Schwartz ended up getting the win with a four wide pass on the top, taking the white flag. I mean, I was following second place Jonah Colbert, and then Atkins, who finished in 6th. I was following both of them after my last pit stop, a lap down. And just following them, I was trying to figure out how they were running because I couldn't figure it out. Well, finally, my tires were better, so I got by them. So that 4-wide pass for the lead was right in my mirror when I seen it.
Mhm.
And I seen that, and I was just expecting the caution to come out. I was expecting somebody to drift up, but all 4 of them held it. It was between Schwartz, Colbert, GT, who finished 2nd, and I think Atkins was still there on the bottom of that. But he had burned his tires up, so he fell back to 6th. But Radburn came out P4, Barrett getting a top 5, and then we had Atkins in 6th. Rafael Hubie came in 7th. That was his first race of the series. Michael Robinson showing great pace so far in the Cup Series, coming out 8th. Drew Prohl coming in 9th, and then Cunningham rounding out your top 10.
Now, I'm pretty sure you almost ran me over coming to the checkered because I ran out of gas.
Yep. That was the race where I had a brown stain in my shorts after that because TJ and I were racing for 18th place, and you ran out of gas, and I think it was a lap or 2 before that. Wes had gotten into you, so he gave you the position, and as you guys were coming out of 4, you ran out of fuel, and TJ followed you, and I split all 3 of you.
Yeah, I was like, I was wondering what Wes was doing, and I was just like, well, I'm out of gas. Well, I'm gonna fall back to whatever position it was, and Wes just kept slowing it down. So I was wondering what he was doing. I look in my mirror, then there's TJ, and then I'm like, well, I'm gonna go down the track to let TJ by. Next thing you know, Cody Anderson's on my inside. I almost take him out. I'm like, well, I'm gonna just try not to run out of gas next time because this sucks.
That's that one extra point may be the difference maker for me. So thank you for that, Lucas.
You're welcome. And if it is, you owe me $5.
I guess I'll pay a race entry for you.
It's better than $5.
That is better than $5.
All right.
For one series.
Yeah.
All right. So
I mean, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, I already owe like $5 in the truck series. If you just want to go ahead and pay that for me.
Oh, somebody already sent your money this week, bro.
No, for the truck series because I won 25 off of.
Oh yeah,
Michigan.
you're right. You're talking. Yeah, you owe for that one. Wait, no, I think you're. Hold on, let me double check.
You said I won $25.
You did, but I think it made you even. No, it didn't. Never mind. I'm wrong. You do owe 5 at Richmond still. Yep, you're right. My bad. I was wrong. All right.
Damn.
Moving on over to our next race, week 3 at Pocono. We saw Mr. Farmer grab was it Daytona Dave grab his win over there. Go ahead and run us down on that series. Give us a top 10, somebody.
So you had David Farmer, who ended up winning the race, leading 32 laps. You had James Silvers in P2, Justin Winters running out the podium in P3, Brandon Holder in P4, me, the short bus in P5, Sean Kaiser in P6, Alex Healy in P7, Jeff in P8, and then Raphael in P9, and then Daniel Cunningham in P10.
Rafael.
Alex Haley got a top 10 in the Cup course.
Yes, he did.
I know. I got a top 5 in the Cup cars.
Yeah.
Alex has really come around in this
Oh,
Cup
yeah.
car from last season. I think running last season was his intro. I'm just going to learn this car so I
That's
can come
basically
next season.
Yeah, that's what I did last season as well.
Yep. You have to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an easy car to run and be competitive in. It's it's crazy. All right, moving on. We had Kansas Speedway. Brandon Holder grabbed the P1 finish, and Raphael Hubie grabbed P2. Jonathan Adkins P3. Matt Grenier P4. Brandon Robertson P5. David Farmer P6. Daniel Cunningham was P7. Justin Winters was P8. And John Schwartz P9. TJ Hanley rounded out your top 10. great job by all those guys. Especially glad to see TJ coming in this season and having a pretty solid run. He had connection issues before and wasn't able to really do what he's done this season, but he's showing that he's not playing around this season. He's come in here to actually to do something and try to take a shot at this thing. What do you guys remember about Kansas? Because I was not there.
Kansas
I know
was
issues the first half of the race. But I mean, it seemed to be great racing all around. Everyone was kind of pretty respectful with everything. There was only 4 cautions, one of them being the stage. But I mean, it seemed to be a pretty good race. It was hard to pass. I want to say everyone was running the top, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
So it made it really hard to pass on that bottom.
Yeah, I remember that was a strategy race. That came into a strategy race because a lot of people got screwed under that caution. It pinned a lot of people a lap down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got saved by the bell somehow. I had to pit the next lap, but the caution saved me. So I ended up finishing on the lead lap.
I didn't make that race. Go ahead.
I ended up finishing 6 laps down that race because one of our other WJM drivers, the first 2 races of the week, he was having issues getting caught speeding, and Kansas, I come in and I took over his pit road problems, and I got caught speeding 3 times in that race.
Really?
But that was definitely a race you wanted to watch. It was a good battle the whole time. Guys trying to figure out where they can pass with everybody running the high side, because even staying up at the wall and trying to diamond the corner a little bit, you just couldn't. If you got the run in the corner, you couldn't drift up like you needed to the wall on exit. So your whole momentum just got killed, and you just had to file back in line, and you were hoping that there was a gap between 2 cars that you could file back in. Otherwise, you were falling back far into the pack.
Gotcha. All right, so that is going to move us on over to, unless anybody has anything else to add for Kansas and Cup. Nope. All right, move us on over to Michigan. This past week, we saw GT Hawkins grab the first win. Who wants to give us a rundown? That's his first win of the season. Who wants to give us a rundown?
Yeah, GT Hawkins ended up bringing it home. First place in Michigan. Started up front, and he ran up front basically the whole race and did a pretty good job, and ended up best of me right there on the last lap. Thought I had a shot at it, but we ended up getting together a little bit, and it kind of cost me some momentum. And then Cofield ended up getting to me and caused a pretty good wreck. But sorry for anybody that was in that too, because that took out my teammate as well. He was running pretty good. Radburn got wrecked.
Oh, Radburn. Okay.
Yeah, he got wrecked.
Did you run down the top 10 already?
Yeah. So John Swartz ended up coming home P2. Brandon Holder in P3. Myself in 4th. David Farmer in 5th. Raphael Hubie in P6. Michael Kostak in P7. Our own Cody Anderson. And P8, Matt Grenier, and P9 and Justin Winters rounded out the top 10.
I do remember that you got around GT there at the end for just a second in turn 4. And
just a split second.
Just literally like, boom, it was over. But you got around him on the outside. You went in 3, he went low, kind of blocking. You went high, you took the high line. You got around him for just a second, got the nose around him, and he kind of washed up just a little bit, just gave you this like little love tap, just a little tiny, just a little boop. I was like, ooh, that was dirty, but it was clean as hell too.
Yeah, it was clean, but
it was a good move.
Doing that, yeah, I had to lift just a tad bit so I didn't hit the wall, and me lifting that much cost me so much momentum down the straightaway. They ran me down. So
and it was over, but
go ahead. With that race too, Silvers, what really hurt you is when I believe it was you and Cofield, you two got together, and that's what initially got you loose on the final lap coming out of 2.
Yeah, I don't know how I didn't wreck that thing, man.
You didn't wreck, but man, the pile up that was behind you, all I could say is thank you to that for saving it in the pilot behind you, because that
Yeah.
is the only reason I got that top 10.
You're welcome, brother.
Hey, Cody, what happened? Was it you or Drew that got wrecked in turn 1 by 4
Drew.
wide?
That was Drew.
Drew.
That's
So-
and that was off of yours, and
Cunningham.
I think it may have been Cunningham's bumper. You guys had gotten into the back of Jeff because Jeff was chopping noses right there on the last lap, and you had gave Cunningham a shot, and that Cunningham was already on the back of Jeff's bumper, and that just sent Jeff up. And I seen
What
into
happened-
my mirror, I thought he was gonna clip my left rear, and it missed me. And then I look back and see Drew get killed. It's like, well, I'm still going.
So
yeah,
what
go ahead.
happened was I was off of turn 4. I had a huge run coming to the white flag, so I went to the apron, and then Daniel came down, and I was bump drafting Daniel all the way up there, and I started to let off into turn 1, and then Daniel went to go into the corner, and then his nose got chopped off, and then I guess Jeff just overcorrected it and just went all the way to the outside wall, and Drew had nowhere to go. He didn't even know it was what was going on. Like, we were probably 4 wide going into turn 1.
Yeah, because I think you were just on the apron just a tiny bit and had the left rear, or you had your front end right on the inside of
Daniel just a little bit.
yes, drawing a blank there. But yeah, I seen it in my mirror, and it scared me a little bit. I was more watching my mirror to make sure that I got cleared of it, and then I seen everything going on in front of me, and it was just playing dodge 'em, sliding cars.
Yeah.
That's in after the race. Matt was one of the people that I had a run on because I really didn't lift going through that second accident. And he had told me he was thinking about blocking me, but he seen the run that I had, and that would have just ruined both of our races.
So I know we had a couple of early incidents in Xfinity. I think the 01 came down on top of the 99 in Xfinity. So I think that's going to put Scott on 2-week probation. Yeah, it was lap 8. And then lap 4, Barrett came down on top of the 57, Jonathan Atkins, and ended up just killing Jonathan's car. It put him in the inside wall. Like, it was pretty obvious because they were coming down the front stretch and they were side by side. And I think Barrett's up in lane 3 or almost in 4, coming down to 3, and then Jonathan stayed in 2 or something like that. And then all of a sudden you see Barrett go whoop, straight into. He's like, I thought he went all the way down, man. I was like, nah, he didn't. But it was pretty rough because it ended up taking out Jonathan and several other guys. But Jonathan, I mean, it just killed Jonathan's car. He was like done instantly. Hard wreck. But it was a solid race overall. I feel like GT led 67 laps. He led the most out of everybody. Finally got that win. He's had a bunch of top 5s this season. And I knew he was due for one. So he was happy. He was, he didn't sound like he was too excited on the broadcast, but there's a reason for that. We won't talk about what the reason is, but he was feeling a little good. Let's just put it that way.
I will say it was hard to pass at Michigan and real hard.
It was that setup because the other setup hit the chip going down the straights. You would hit the chip.
Yeah. Well, also with the car too, the way that the car acts, with the draft and everything, because this car drafts really well. I mean, you can see it at short tracks and intermediate tracks, but not really too much at like really, really short tracks. But like Michigan like that, since it's so big, you can really see the momentum in the distance. And if somebody got pinned on the bottom and everybody lined up on the top, they just freight train you on the top. So it basically is about fighting and getting in line. So a lot of people probably got pinched off, probably put in the wall.
Yep. And this week is going to be interesting because we go to Bristol Dirt for the first race there. And then next week we have Chicago Street in Cup. And then where do we go in Xfinity this week? It's not Bristol Dirt. We go to Mid-Ohio in the Xfinity series this week. And then trucks, they'll be at Bristol Dirt. I do believe that we're going to have a couple special guests come in for this Bristol Dirt race. I think Keith is coming in. He's wanting to do his second race since he still has an Xfinity charter. and I can't remember if anybody else is coming or not. So we might see.
Fritz is going to be running truck and cup as well.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Yep. I think he might be running all 3 series this week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Okay.
Because he's got his Xfinity charter, so he's running Mid Ohio still for points, but he's also racing down and up for both dirt races.
So should be a good little week of racing. Everybody trying to do what they can. I'm kind of excited to see how Mid Ohio goes in Xfinity, though. What do you guys think about that?
I think it'll be a pretty good race as long as Alex don't dominate.
I'm excited. Go ahead.
I'm not big on having 2 road races back to back, but I think Michael Kostic will be pretty well that race.
Well, the only reason we're having 2 back to back is because, and it's only in Xfinity that there's 2 back to back. It's because there's not a setup for Bristol Dirt Xfinity.
Which I would have liked to see Xfinity at normal Bristol because they're a lot of fun there.
Well, we're doing that later in the season, though.
Yep, that's in the playoffs. I think that's the last race of round 2.
Thank God y'all put Bristol in the playoffs.
It's the first race of round 2.
Yeah,
I love Bristol so much.
Yeah, it's such a good track to have in the playoffs. That's why I didn't want to put it early. I wanted to do it in the playoffs because it's a really good track to have in the playoffs. Period. Let's just talk about the playoffs for a minute. I know this is our first podcast, so we've not been able to, we've not really discussed anything this season as far as scheduling. But we've got a pretty grueling little playoff schedule. You got New Hampshire, Talladega, Bristol, Charlotte Roval, Darlington, Martinsville, and then Homestead. So it's not easy, by any means. But I think it offers a lot of different avenues for different types of drivers to make it into the next round and stuff.
Yes.
But that's also
round 2 is not going to be easy at all.
No, it's not. You're going to have to be prepared and be ready to go because it's a grueling schedule as is. And you go, let's see, we got Cup. Let me pull my Cup schedule up. So I think I like this schedule because just for the simple fact that it's a good mix of different tracks. But I started us out at the bigger tracks first. I wanted to get everybody kind of in their groove and stuff. And we ran Auto Club Vegas, Pocono, Kansas, Michigan. And now Bristol Dirt's our very first technical short track, right? It's on dirt, but it's still short track. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a wild week. I know it's going to be a wild week, and that's just because that's what happens every other time. It turns out to be a wild event. It's still, everybody seems to like it, though. I mean,
oh yeah, we love Bristol Dirt.
It's fun, man. It's just something different. You got to mix it up. You got to have different stuff. That's why we're doing Chicago Street because most guys probably ain't going to like it, but it's different. It's something that it takes you out of your comfort zone and puts you in a box. And that's what we're all about here. We don't want everybody to just get complacent. We want you to be challenged.
Well, you need to be challenged. Everybody needs to be challenged. If you're going to progress as a race car driver, there's no point in just doing the same thing and winning all the time. You need to compete against people that's better than you to get better and compete at tracks that you're not comfortable at.
Yep. And you have to, like, guys that can't handle like not winning all the time or finishing top 3 all the time, man, this might not be the place for you. I'm sorry. Like, we've seen it before. Egos get in the way of talented drivers because they can't dominate. They can dominate one car, but they can't dominate another one. But my thing is, why do you want to continue to run in a series that you're too good for when you have the option to go run a series that you're still good in, like very good in, you just may not dominate? You see what I'm saying? Like, to me, that makes more sense. Like, so if it's all about the money for you, then you're not going to be happy. You're not going to enjoy this league. But if you like winning money and you like competition and having a challenge, then this is the place for you for sure. But it's definitely not just to win money. Like, those guys just don't last for obvious reasons, and we saw that already. We kind of ran through the results pretty quickly. Let's go back and talk about some of the how we've not had any other winners and stuff. And let's talk about how some of these guys are doing in this series. whether they're new or old or whatever. Let's just go in and look at the standings right now and start with trucks. We'll go in and look at the Truck Series standings. And we'll get in there and we'll just kind of dive in and let everybody give their thoughts. Barrett Morton, man, is in second in points in trucks right now. That's awesome, dude. Like I know he finished top 4 last season, but he did not start this well. He did not start this well at all. So that makes me think that Barrett might be a force to be reckoned with this season in trucks, because that guy started out pretty rough last season. He reminds me a lot of Peyton's first season. He had even though he made the top 4, he still had a rough season to start out. And he did eventually get his first win, I feel like, in what was it, Dover?
No,
where was it?
He hasn't won.
Oh, he hasn't won.
I don't think he ever won. I think he just pointed his way in.
Kaiser won at Dover, right? That's right.
Yep. Yes.
You're right. He did just point his way in. You're
I
right.
think Kaiser won Darlington and Dover.
Yeah, he had a really strong couple weeks there in the playoffs. He really came on. We saw Jonah kind of struggle. Kaiser kind of came on, and obviously Jonah still did his thing, but it was not easy for him by any means.
I think if Barrett's just a little bit more aggressive, he can definitely get a win. I talk to him pretty regularly, and he's like, I just don't want to make any enemies. And I'm like,
I respect that.
Sometimes you're gonna have to. If you're faster, you might have to give him the bumper, And
Well,
he's just kind of like, yeah, and stuff like that. But I think if he's just a little bit more aggressive, he can definitely get a lot more wins.
Well, here's the thing. He's got to realize you're going to make enemies if you're aggressive or not. It's that simple. You're going to have enemies just because you're racing. Like, people that race are competitive. Like, we're all naturally competitive people. We want to win, and we're going to get pissed off. We're going to get angry. We're going to say shit, whatever, it just happens. So, but he's showing this season he's doing really well, man. I mean, what's crazy? Kenneth McCullough has a win, but he's still sitting 21st in points because he's had Kenneth McCullough Jr. He got the win at Kansas. He's not had a great start to the season. He keeps getting, I feel like, involved in stuff, even though he's only got 20 incident points, which tells me he's a clean driver. Because I'm seeing guys in the 30s and stuff after 5 races. You got guys with 36, and Jeremiah Hobbs has 36. Daniel Worthington has 36. Kaufman has 32. Ronnie's got 35. So, I mean, there's guys that are definitely getting involved in incidents, and not all of them are their fault. Mollahan has 30, and Peyton has 26, and Healy's got 25. So there's guys getting involved in accidents, but not all of them their fault. I understand, but the count, the instant count, he's, let's see, where was he at? Yeah, 20. So he's got 20. So he's not getting involved in a whole lot. He is getting involved in stuff that's kind of taking him out, I feel like. Chris McCullough, he's having a pretty good run. He's got 2 top 10s. He's got a pole, sitting P7 in points. Daniel Cunningham is probably the biggest surprise coming in, man. He's really good. That kid is, or not kid, but he's a grown ass man, but you know what I'm saying? 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s, more than anybody else. Second closest is Chad Ross, 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s. Barrett has 1 top 5 and 3 top 10s. It's a big group of guys in that truck series that are really competitive. So what do y'all think? Weigh in. Give me some thoughts.
I'm not exactly where I want to be, because even though I'm intense and I'm in it, I feel like I'm really, really behind where I was last season, because I won New Hampshire, which was the second race, and then I kind of kept the momentum up. But this season, I've been getting caught up in incidents, and luck hasn't really been going my way. And I hope it changes after all the Chicago street course. But I mean, it's like you said, Daniel Cunningham, Barrett Morton, Chad Ross, they are looking really, really strong this season.
Mm-hmm. Cody?
I mean, even in our top 5, we've only got 2 guys who have run one of the last 2 seasons in our top 5. We've got Barrett and Wes so we've got second and then tied for 4th. We've got 2 previous Bluegrass drivers. Other than that, we've got new guys this season. But looking at the standings, I mean, looking at if the playoffs were to start tomorrow, this playoff there would be some people that would not make the top 16 who are normally playoff contenders and even championship 4 contenders.
Mm-hmm.
That's compared to last season's. There's a lot of guys who are doing very good.
Mm-hmm.
They're not having their first 5 weeks have not been very kind to them.
Oh, I agree.
And I know last season, my first 3 races, I started out pretty good and went downhill once we hit our 4th race. But so far, my first 5 races, they haven't even gone the way that I've planned, and I'm sitting 30th in points.
Mm-hmm. Some of that's self-inflicted, though, Cody. I mean, if you just want me to be honest with you.
It is. It is. Between mistakes on pit road and then last week at Michigan, my running with bracket, trying to be over aggressive, that's a lot of it is self-inflicted. And
Las Vegas for Michael Cole.
Yep, that was self-inflicted, giving somebody the benefit of the doubt when I shouldn't have.
Yep. I mean, other than that, though, it's not been terrible. I mean, you got to think you've shown speed and promise. You just got to put it all together, man. Races, It's not easy to put a full race together.
No.
I'm sure these other guys can attest to that.
For sure.
All right.
Thanks a lot. I finished good.
Anybody else? Anybody else is sticking out to you in Truck Series? Like, what do you guys think? Like, who else is really,
who's this Chad Ross? Who was that?
He's a new guy, and Jeremy Vaughn's having a good run this season. P9 in points right now. Lucas, you're doing well. David Sheets is another guy that used to run with us several seasons ago. Haven't seen him in a while. He was actually our title sponsor for season 4 LNS Customs. I believe he ran in the Cup Series, maybe. It was just a little too much for him at the time. I think he was kind of new to iRacing, but he has really went over and raced with the McCullough boys for a while, and he's really improved, man. He's doing really, really well. Michaela Steffes is sitting in P17 right now, in points ahead of several of our, regular guys.
You got Drew in 13th, and he's set 2 poles this season already in the Truck Series. And honestly, both poles he's gotten, it's been a shock to me because we're in Discord together, and he sets the pole. And it's like, what are you doing so much different than me? Because him and I last season, we were battling neck and neck, and now he's just 5 steps above me with qualifying and race.
Yeah, I mean, he's just being aggressive and putting the time in and really just attacking the track, figuring it out. Let's see. Michael Robinson's having a good run. I know it looks like he dropped about 6 spots. He was in 6th in points, and then he had a rough week here at Michigan, but he's having a good season still. 1 top 5, 3 top 10s. Drew, like you said, is 13. Brian Terry's doing a really good job right now, sitting in 14th in points. He's ahead of Bobby Hall Jr. By 1 point. Eric Parks is in 16th. Like I said, let's see. Steffes in 17th. Worthington 18th. Woody's in 19th. Hobbs is 20th. Ken McCullough is in 21st, but he's technically our playoff. He's one of our playoff guys since he has a win. Stephen Page moved up 11 positions with his fantastic finish the other night. He was so close to a win, and that green white checkers just snacked it away from him, just like smack the crap. Hey, see you later. Not going to win. And then Mallahan ended up pulling the win. But yeah, Steven's still having a good run the other night, and it was very impressive. Carlin Charles in 23rd. Ron Morris is in 24th. Dustin Reinstedt's tied with Ron for 24th. David Brackett, 26th. Michael Cole, 27th. Sean Kaiser, 28th. Mark Vondale, 29th. Cody Anderson, 30th. James Kaufman, 31st. Dakota Shepard, 31st. Thomas Hall, 33rd. Justin Winters tied for 33rd. Justin had a rough race the other night, dropped 6 spots. Ronnie Shirk Jr. is in 35th. Charles Blake is in 36th. Josh Clemens in 37th. Joe Zolo in 38th. Derek Puckett, 39th. Casey Ryback, 40th. Billy Bowerman, 41st. Bentley McFarland's in 42nd. and I think everybody else is kind of out at this point. So
Yeah.
I don't think they're running because then you got Lancaster, Hackney, Loya, Farmer. Yeah, I think all those guys are pretty much done. But moving over to Xfinity, we want to look at the points in Xfinity and kind of go over that like we just did, and do a little rundown and give everybody the standings. We don't have nearly as many drivers in Xfinity this season, but still, nevertheless, it's a pretty good little series. Alex Penn leading all drivers in Xfinity right now, 255 total points. He's 4 points ahead of Jim Ott. Jimmy Allen brings in third place. David Farmer's in fourth. Tony Iverson having a really good season. Let's talk about Tony for a minute, because Tony was going to be on the podcast with us today, but ended up having to take care of the newborn, so he wasn't able to join us. But Tony's having a really good run. I feel like Tony's going to have a win come up for him here soon. It'll be his first win in Bluegrass, and I feel like he's due. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I believe he does. Yeah,
That's the few races that I ran in the Xfinity. He's one of the guys that I was chasing it down, along with the normal top runners. And Tony is just very good with his fuel strategy in tires.
Yeah, he can save tires like no other,
Yeah.
And he knows when he needs to push too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So he's a dangerous combination. If in a lot of it with the Xfinity, we've had some green flag runs, and there's been a few times I've seen him burn the tires up too quick, but there's other times you see him stay out 5, 6, 7 laps longer than whoever was leading, just because he saved that much tire and fuel.
Mm-hmm.
So he's definitely going to get one very, very soon. I see it coming.
Yeah. Adam Lancaster sitting in sixth place. He was last season's champion. We were going to do a championship podcast with him and Jonah and GT, but we haven't gotten around to doing that. Hopefully we'll be able to get those guys on soon. But Adam won the championship, his first championship ever in Bluegrass. He moved down from the Cup Series last season to run Xfinity. Or was it the season before? I can't remember. Anyways, he dropped down to run Xfinity, and he's been having pretty solid go of it by dropping down a series. I know Farmer also dropped down from a Cup to run Xfinity this season, and he's having a pretty good run this season, Xfinity. Sometimes I just think it's hard to run two cars, man. I don't. It's tough, and a lot of these guys, the competition is so stout in that Cup Series that what you see is these guys, they'll drop down because it's too competitive. They're not, they can't grab wins or whatever it may be in the other series, and essentially they're trying to find somewhere where they can kind of go run and do well every week. And you see that a lot. You'll see a lot of those guys do that. Daniel Cunningham is running all three series. He's sitting in P7 right now in Xfinity. Finley Fitzsimmons is sitting in P8. Finley, like we said, he's from over the pond. He's a pretty solid driver, doing really well. Michael Kostick also, he runs multiple series. I think he runs two, right? Xfinity and Cup. Michael's sitting in P9. He's having a good run. Matt Grenier running P10. This is his first season full time in Xfinity. He ran part time last season after his truck series on Tuesday nights closed up, so he's having a good run. Good season so far. Justin Ray sitting tied with Matt in P10. Then you have John McAdam, Ben Speed in 13th, Nicholas Hasia in 14th, Jason Arison in 15th, Lucas Lyon 16th, Michael Coles in 17th, Twitty's in 18th, LaBourgeois in 19th, Jeremy Vaughn missed 2 races in 20th at the moment. Anybody else in that top 20 stand out to you guys? Are they impressing you, showing you anything different? Like, what are you seeing?
Justin Ray's really impressing me.
Yeah, I have to agree.
He's come a long way from last season.
Yep.
And that's the thing is he got promoted now because last season when we had our two teams, we had weaponized, and our secondary team this year, because since Tyler quit racing with us, it's not weaponized anymore, but Team Cornerstone. But we only have Brandon Holder and Mike Peters. And then we share the 33 charter whenever we race down in the Xfinity. But, for Justin to be promoted to the main team, he's really stepped it up to the plate, and he's gotten better with his strategy, and he's gotten better at saving tires. And hopefully he might be able to pull a win off one of these days. He's waiting for Daytona because I kind of took it from him last season.
Well, I mean, he's already doing really well. He's got a top 5 and 3 top 10s. And he's not getting caught up in wrecks like he was last year. He's only 50. He's only 50 points out of the lead. That's not much.
Oh, yeah.
And 5 races in, 50 points out of the lead is way better than what he did last season.
Yeah.
Last season, he was struggling to get in the top 20 and just having a rough go. But this season, he's doing really well, man. And you'll see guys turn things around like that. Twitty's doing really well. Twitty's in 18th in points and only ran 4 races. Same with LeBourgeois. He's only been able to run 4 races and he's in 19th in points, See,
Twitty, he's a quiet driver. He don't really get in. He don't really. He don't run too much in there. But he's calmed down now. I know beforehand he used to be pretty wild, but he's calmed down.
He got pretty upset with somebody the other night.
Yeah. He gets mad. He gets off the handle sometimes. But we still love him. We love old Twitty. North Carolina, 100%.
And
still got one of the coolest rigs you'll ever see.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to see that one day. We have to ride out there. His setup is pretty badass.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Off the wall, yeah.
So, anybody else you guys think? I mean, we got a whole 5 weeks to cover here.
I mean, Daniel Cunningham, even though he's leading like the truck points, still being up in like the top 10 in the Xfinity, that's still pretty impressive too.
I have to say, you're right. It is.
They drive kind of similar, but also like the Xfinity is just a lot more loose in my opinion. I'm not too sure on Euros.
It is like, a lot looser.
Still being high up and only 34 points back of the lead.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it's also impressive that Finley's in the top 10. His first time in Bluegrass, he's running pretty good right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Pretty good. Oh yeah, Alex Penn's still the points leader too. We love you, Alex.
And even Matt Grenier, he raced around him quite a bit, and a lot of it, he has the pace to win the races. It's just his strategy may not be what it needs to be to actually get that win. That's a lot of the races that I've seen. He's leading some laps, but he's not there at the end because the strategy just doesn't play out for him.
What are you talking about?
Grenier.
Oh yeah. I mean,
he's really stepped it up, in my opinion. He's gotten way better as a race car driver in the past couple of months or so. Consistently. He runs consistent in both now. He does pretty good in Xfinity and Cup.
Yeah. I mean, he's always been a very, very consistent driver. He's our was it season 2 champ? Was it season 3? I don't remember.
I didn't even know he had a title.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. He won the Cup Series championship in, I want to say season 2. Let me go double check. And where's it at? Hold on. Championships. Yeah, season 2, Matt Grenier. Yep. He pulled it off, man. Did a really good job. Season 2 champ. All right. Back to Xfinity. I'm going to round out the rest of the points. 20th down. So we got Kostritza in 21st, Scott Fritz in 22nd, Jonah Colbert 23rd, Brian Terry tied with Colbert for 23rd, Austin Allen 25th, Tyler Johnson 26th. Tyler got a late start to the season, but he's at it now. Cofield 27th, Ryback 28th, Anderson 29th, and Jacob Fifield in 30th. Tom Pereira in 31st, and I think that's pretty much everybody else that's actually running for the most part. Not just running down. Okay. Those are the chartered guys for the season, I should say. Standings in Cup. Let's go ahead and talk about this. These are super tight once again. 240 is your points leader, John Schwartz. Brandon Holder is only 3 back with 237. Silvers is only back 10 with 227. Hawkins is right there with 202. Farmer 201. Raphael, Hubie 201. Cofield 200. Grenier 197. Healy in 9th in Cup standings points with 196. Jonathan Atkins in 10th with 194. Barrett Morton in 10th also with 194. Radburn 193. Winters 193. Costick 192. Michael Robinson 190. Like, they're tight as hell. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's especially that like 9th place, or let's see, 8th place through 15th is 10
Really
points.
tough.
10 points. And then Lucas is 16th with 184. I mean, so it's really anybody's ball game, so to speak. You know, GT jumped up 13 spots from 17th to 4th in the points because of his win the other night. And he's not had a bad season at all. He's got 3 top 5s and 3 top 10s. And he jumped 13 points with 1 win. So what does that tell you? Like, Cup Series
him
is
missing that race brought him right back in, though.
Yep.
All they had to do was win one. Yep.
Cup Series is super tight, man. It's crazy. Schwartz, he was a Final Four contestant in season 3, and then also last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
And now he drives for us.
He was super close. So Alex Huffman won season 3 championship at Phoenix, and Schwartz was looked like he had an opportunity to potentially win season 3. Just ended up getting beat out by Huffman, but took a couple seasons off and now he's back. But yeah, man. And Brendan Holder's another guy that's looking fantastic. I'm impressed with the way you're driving this season, James. Like, you're doing really well. 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and you got 2 poles already. So you guys are putting in work, man. What do you give us some thoughts? Talk about it. Go.
Yeah. Well, for Cornerstone, man, we've really stepped up to the plate, man. We've put some more Mike Peters and GT helping me help run the team, you know, helping me get like a more driver stance and helping them. Because beforehand, I had to do everything running the team, and it was pretty stressful, you know, because having to get everything right, make sure that we got everybody lined up and for the right race. Sometimes the people needed subs, and having all that help has really helped as a team standpoint, because we've been putting in all these practices. Everybody shows up for our team practices, and they put in the commitment and they put in that work, and it's really showing off, you know, because in Xfinity and Cup, I mean, I'm really impressed at how good our team has started off this season, and hopefully we can keep going, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, every driver that's on our team has impressed me, and they've come up to a high standard, and they just keep holding it, and you know, and I've held myself at a higher standard because I've been doing it for so long, you know. But you know, me running the Cup cars last season and getting just used to it, because I knew I was going to have to run Cup this season just for full time because I can only run one series.
Mm-hmm.
So me getting used to the car, I mean, it's really helped, and I've really fell in love with the car. I like the way it drives. I like the way it handles, and I just want to win a race. I'm tired of finishing second place. I want to win.
How many second places do you have?
I've got 2 this season. I want to finish, you know, but I've got 6 Xfinity wins. I got 6 of them, you know, and I just want a Cup win.
What do you think?
I got in my first season in Xfinity, I made the Final 4, and then last season I missed it by 1 spot. But you know, that's I just want this title, and I want to win. I want to win bad.
What do you think about Radburn's run this season so far in Cup?
He's you know, after the first race, he surprised the shit out of me, because I wasn't expecting him to come in and be able to. I mean, because I know he put in somewhat some practice, but him getting used to the car and everything, because he was so used to Xfinity car, used to it. Because I mean, he became dominant. I mean, last season, I don't know how many poles they get. 10, too many, way too many.
A lot.
He could have been. He could have shared some with somebody. You know, somebody needs one. You could have just not qualified. But him coming in this season, he's really taken over the Cup car, and he's surprised me. I mean, he's gotten better and better every week, and he's finally starting to figure out what he needs to do with the steering pinion and his brake cylinders, or the master cylinders and the brake bias, because, you know, it helps the car turn, and sometimes it helps it too much, and sometimes it don't help it at all. So it's really a fine line of how you can drive this Cup car, and learning everything about it, you know, about running the draft and everything. It's a whole different breed than running an Xfinity car.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
For him, he stepped up to the plate, and I'm glad we put him on the Cup team, because I believe he's going to roll around and get him a win soon as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's got it's coming. He's due. He's just got to get used to the car and everything first.
Yeah. We finally got him back in his old number. Got him in the 44.
Yeah.
Proud to see him back in that. Yeah.
He wasn't liking that 3 last season.
No. I mean,
He wasn't liking it at all.
Hey, the poles were through the roof, but the winds were
Not so much. Yeah.
No.
Which, I mean, I told him, I was like, you know,
he got mad at me a lot last season. A lot.
I told him, I was like, I'm going to give you the 3. I was like, because that was when I won, what I ran when I won the championship. So I wanted to, you know, see if he could pull it off, but it didn't work out. Wasn't lucky enough for him. So.
No, but it did look good. The 3 and the 33 made it match pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So I know we got, where was I at on rundown? Where'd I stop at?
I think he stopped at Radburn on the points.
Okay. Justin Winters is B12, 193. Michael Kostick, 192. I stopped at Robinson, 190. Lucas was 184. Daniel Cunningham, 175. He's sitting back in 17th. Sean Kaiser's tied with Cunningham. Then you see Brandon Robertson and with 170 and 19th. Cody Anderson in 20th with 169. TJ Hanley, 168 and 21st. Jason Bridges is in 22nd. Drew Pearl's in 23rd. Ryan Stedel, 24th. Smith is in 25th. Casey Ryback, 26th. And give us just a second, guys. We're going to take a break. All right, we are back once again, guys. We covered most of everything, I believe, so far, Cup Series and everything like that. Let's see what we've got. So anything else you guys know to add right now?
And we've gone over the points and everything. There's not much to talk about there besides looking forward to the weeks coming ahead for the rest of the regular season.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, anything you can think of off top your head, or you guys think that's pretty much covers everything for us today?
We're good for week 1 through 5. I say we go into our picks for Bristol Dirt and Mid Ohio. All
right, let's see what we got. Who you guys think is going to pull off trucks at Bristol Dirt?
Trucks. I've got Jeremy Vaughn. He won last season, and I think he's gonna show out again.
Solid pick.
I guess I'll go with Peyton Hubbard. I think he could probably get it done. He's got some experience on dirt.
I agree. Oh, this is tough, man.
Dang, pick. You know you won't.
I don't know, man.
He doesn't run out of fuel again.
I think he's probably going to end up. He's got to start in the back because
he started in the back last season too.
Yeah.
Doesn't take long to get up front.
Yeah, I'd say it'll probably be Hackney. He'll probably win it. So, what about Mid Ohio Xfinity?
Silvers, you want to go first?
Sure, I'm going to take my boy Alex Payne because you already know I was going to take him.
You asshole.
Needs to bring it home for me.
I think it's going to be. I'm going to go with Finley.
Finley's not.
Won't be there.
Well, that sucks.
GT Hawkins is racing down though.
Oh, he is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to go GT then. Oh, no. I'm going Farmer. Fuck that. Farmer's a regular in here now. I forgot about Farmer. Yeah, Farmer. Sorry. GT got to start in the back. Farmer don't.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's some good drivers. There's some good, some good road course drivers too.
I'll go with Grenier.
Solid. All right, and that puts us over to Bristol Dirt Cup.
You're first this time.
I'm gonna take Fritz. He don't have to start in the back. He's got a charter in Cup.
You wanna go, Cody?
I'm gonna go with Drew.
Jeff Foyt might be somebody to look out for. Just saying, he's been practicing all week, and I shared his post the other day on Instagram.
Well, if I could go with anybody besides, because hopefully I can try to pull something out because I've been pretty good on Bristol Dirt. I'd like to see Radburn win it, but my mind's telling me I got to go with Cofield. Got to go with Cofield. I think he's probably an all-around good driver. We ain't seen him on dirt yet, but he could probably surprise us.
Does that leave Cody?
I took Drew.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
My bad. I missed that one. I misheard you. Sorry. All right. So I think that's pretty much wraps us up. And for this episode, we go ahead and thank those sponsors for us, Cody.
Yep. We've got WJM Designs. We've got Bluegrass Power Washing LLC. Scott Fritz Designs. We've got Butt Kicker coming back on again this season to the non-playoff driver championship 4 winner. Getting a butt kicker. We got Red Rocket Buildings and Barbecues. And then Cofield Service and Supply.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for episode number 27. We'll see you guys next Sunday, episode 28. We'll try to get that put out for you as soon as possible. If you want to talk to me about being on the show, you're more than welcome to go ahead and hit me up. So catch you in a little bit, guys.